gotta go with it, okay? I have to be confident in how I feel about myself. You have to be confident in how you feel about your actions. And if you're not, it's okay. It's okay for now. If you're not yet, it's okay for now. I just want to extend the reminder to listen to your body. This is What School Didn't Teach Me, a podcast meant to build community on all the things school doesn't prepare you for. Hi, I'm your host, Jasmine Kiamber, and class is in session. All right, America, how y'all doing tonight? How y'all doing? Hey, how you doing? My name is Jasmine Kiamber, and welcome back to another episode of the What School Didn't Teach Me podcast. If you're new here, welcome, okay? What School Didn't Teach Me is a podcast where we are here to build community, okay? For people who look like us, are like us, and are learning through this life thing together. It is a space where we come together and let each other know you are not alone in this life thing, right? I was talking to some people the other day, and they were asking me about the podcast, and I was telling them, man, I was under the assumption that when I turned a certain age, when I became an adult, when I this, when I that, I just thought I was going to have it all together, that I was going to have it all figured out. Everything in the world was finally going to make sense. You know, they always told you, like, you'll understand when you're older. No, I don't. No, I don't. And so I think we all were kind of sold on this idea that we would know what was going on when we got older, but it's unrealistic, right? There's still so much for us to learn. And for anybody struggling with that idea that, man, I don't have it all together, you're not the only one. That's why you're here. So however you got here, I don't know how you found us, but I'm so glad you did. I'm so excited about this episode. I'm excited about this new season. I know you can feel my energy through the screen or through the radio, whatever you're doing, whether you're listening on YouTube, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're available on all of those platforms. And so, yeah, I'm just excited you're here. Glad you're here. If you haven't already, like, subscribe. If you have not subscribed, what are we doing here? Subscribe. Make sure you like, subscribe, and just stick around, right? If you stick around and you like us, share us with a friend so that they can become our classmates, so that we can expand the classroom in this What's Going to Teach Me space together, okay? Y'all like my shirt? Would y'all believe that this shirt was $3? I went to Forever 21, and it's the Forever 21. I live in LA, so I went to the Forever 21 in Del Amo. And apparently, ain't nobody told me nothing. Apparently, the Forever 21 at Del Amo always has these boxes, and the boxes are full of, like, clothes from clearance. And they be having you, like, they have, like, the boxes full of clothes from clearance, so the clothes are, like, $2-3. And it just be people standing over there like it is, like, the purge or something, like... Oh my gosh. I was like, I literally cannot. But I was with somebody who's really good at finding those tops or finding those pieces. And they found this shirt for me. And I put some little lapels on it. And now I'm all cute and stuff. Yeah, I'm all cute. So, I mean, if you're in LA, head to Del Amo. Maybe you'll find you a cute shirt for $3. On to today's episode. So if you watched last week's episode, it was an introduction to this season. We are officially in season 4 of What School Didn't Teach Me. I'm so grateful. Season 4, year 2. I'm grateful beyond measure, y'all. I'm just so excited. So if you haven't already, if you haven't already, I'm going to put it over here so that you can watch last week's episode so that you can kind of get a feel of what we're going for this season, some of the things to expect this season. I told you all about, some new segments that I want to put in, some things that I want to make sure I continue, and just some content that we plan to put out for this season. I'm not going to repeat it here because you need to, click the... Yeah, right there. Thank you. So yes, watch last week's episode so that you can get a feel for what we're doing in this season. But we already know this season we are working on representing and representing, okay? Representing, making sure we are walking around authentically ourselves, because we, as we are forms of representation. We inspire people just by being authentically ourselves, but then representing, right? How do we make sure we're authentically ourselves? How do we make sure we are the people we want to be? How do we make sure we show up honestly? And just working on doing that for ourselves. And so the represent portion, I guess, is more of what I want to talk about in today's episode, because that's really a question a lot of the time. What's the first step? How do I go for it? Like, a lot of times it can be really anxiety provoking to even think about adopting a new habit or, being the person you truly want to be, because it's a whole lot of fear. Like, am I going to be consistent? Are people still going to accept me if I change? Am I going to find my people in my community if I'm no longer around the people that I'm currently around? If I to become the person I want to be, I have to drop some bad habits, and I don't know if I'm ready to do that. Like, it can be an ongoing question of, can I be the person I want to be? How do I get there? And I don't have the answers. I'm never going to sit up here and act like I have the answers. I say it all the time. I am in the classroom just like you. So I'm never going to sit here and act like I have all the answers, because I don't have life figured out. However, I am working on it. And so I just would like to share 3 things that I feel like are super duper helpful for me when it comes to being the person I want to be. And so first, I want to share a little personal experience so that we can connect a little more. You understand where I'm coming from, and then we'll hop into the tips. So this year, oh my gosh. Okay. Let's be real, right? When I think about the person that I want to be, the kind of adult that I want to be. And I'm talking about, like, when I have kids, when I am a wife, a mother, an adult, like a businesswoman, like, I'm talking like 40s. Like, I'm thinking about, who do I want to be when I'm in my 40s, right? And I think about that person, and I feel like she is poised. I feel like she's poised. I feel like she's energetic, yes, but she's like calm, cool, and collected. Nothing really stresses her out. Like, of course, she got business, so she got stuff to do, but like, she's not pressed. She's not super pressed. She's super graceful. She's not super anxious. Like, she is calm, cool, collected, still passionate, but she's graceful. And I may not be always. As of right now, I do feel like I have a certain poise and a certain class, praise the Lord. But I don't, I may not handle everything gracefully. And so I know there are some things that I do now that are holding me back from becoming the person I want to be. I actually was just talking to my friend Ayana, who was on the pod last season. She did the episode called Simulation Something and Terrible Childhood Shows. That was a really good episode. We giggled so hard. You should go watch that. I'm going to put it here. Yes. So I was talking to her the other day, and I was just telling her just like how overwhelmed I felt and how I felt like I was struggling, but I didn't even realize that I was struggling because I have been ignoring it, right? And so I was telling her, there's so many things that I want to do, but I feel stuck and I feel stiff and I feel like something is holding me back, right? I feel like I am waiting on something and I don't know what I'm waiting on. I don't know why I'm waiting, but it is stifling me and holding me back. And she was just like, Kiamber, you're an adult. Like, you're an adult. And if you are waiting on some kind of permission or validation, that shouldn't come from anywhere except yourself and the Lord, of course. But like, that shouldn't come from my mom, shouldn't come from my dad, shouldn't come from my friends. Like, if I say I want to do something, I should just do it because I'm an adult. I have that freedom. I have that luxury. And I didn't even realize how much waiting for permission was something that I did so often. Waiting for permission, for validation, for someone to amen me, like, was holding me back. Like, until she and I had that conversation, I don't think I realized how much that was holding me back. And when I think about the person I want to be when she's 40, she spent her 20s doing what she wanted to do. So now when she got to console her husband, it's not a big deal. Okay? I can't be that woman. I can't become that woman if I don't give myself the permission I need to give myself now, right? And so I have had to do some deep diving. Like, I almost went back to therapy, y'all. I had to do some deep diving, some deep digging on, like, why am I searching for permission so hard? What is it? Why? Like, what is happening? Why am I looking for that? Why can't I find that in myself? And the truth is, I can. It's like, if I just in the past have felt like if I give myself permission, then there are consequences that come with that I don't want. But that's not the truth. Like, you're not finna get a whooping, you're not finna get in trouble, you're not this, you're not that. No, you're an adult, you make your own decisions. And so that's me. I don't know what stops you, but I know for me, asking for permission is a big thing. And so in this next season of my life, I am working on giving myself permission to just be the person that I want to be, do the things that I want to do, spend the money I want to spend, join the classes I want to join, like experience life the way I want to, and not because somebody said, oh yeah, girl, you should do this. Oh yeah, you would be so great for that. Oh yeah, I agree. Because if I spend so much time waiting on external validation, I'll never really get to the pinnacle of where I really want to be. And if I'm waiting for somebody to give me an amen, if I'm waiting for somebody to give me validation, then God can never really use me the way he wants to use me, because sometimes he tells you to do things that don't make sense. And it just needs to be you and him. It don't need to be you, him, and whoever else gives you validation. No. And so lately, one of the ways that I've been trying to figure out, like, okay, what's going on with me? How do I work through that? Is I've been watching a couple sermons. And so I want to share some sermons that I've been watching that have really been helping me give myself, like, let go of the stiff feeling that I felt. And I hope they give you that same feeling as well. So hold on. Let me grab my notebook. Okay. I've been watching Fed Up by Jerry Flowers. Jerry Flowers is based in Houston, Texas. And I don't know the name of his church. I think it's called Redefined. But I love his sermons. He never misses. He has a sermon called Fed Up. And it's essentially like a you know better, you do better. Like, when you get sick of something, you'll change. And I'm like, man, I'm sick of waiting for permission. Let me change. Like, yeah. So that's a really good one. Another one I've been watching is called I Can Be the Better Me by Charles Metcalf. Yo. I know Transformation Church is a little controversial right now. That's fine. Don't care. I used to watch them when I was when I was coming back to Christ, like seriously getting my relationship seriously right with Christ. I watched Transformation Church, and it was like Mike was teaching, and I really, really appreciated that. And so I don't watch them as much anymore, but I love when Charles preaches. I have watched Charles preach for a couple of years, and I wish he got the opportunity to preach more, not to ruffle any feathers in their church, but he has a sermon called I Can Be the Better Me. And so it's from this sermon series. It's called The Word of God. And so he reads from the book of Galatians, and he talks about how there are like two sides of us, right? There's the side of us that wants to do good. There's a side of us that wants to like read our word every day and go to the gym all the time and save $20 every week so that you have $1,000 in your bank account by the end of the year. Like, there's a part of us that wants to be that person. There's a part of us that wants to stop cussing and wants to drop bad habits, wants to stop smoking. There's a part of us that wants to do those things, but then there's another part of us who like lives in that. You know, there's another part of us who lives and thrives in a little bit of chaos, a little bit of, you know, conflict, a little bit of drama, and that's okay. Like, it's okay. We are human beings. Those parts of us exist. It's the duality of us being human. But you have the power to be the person you want to be. You have the power to choose every single day to be the better you. So that was a really good sermon. I really enjoyed that. And then I'll link these either here or I'll link them in the show notes. I'll figure that out. But I'd love for you all to go watch them. And then I watched another sermon. And then Transformation Church is based in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Most of everybody knows that. And then there's another sermon I watched called Go After It by Keon Henderson. Keon, I want to say, is also in Houston. I think he's also in Houston. And so that Keon Henderson, he gonna tell us you straight. So that's a good one too. That one is called Go After That. Go After It. And then an honorable mention to Manny Arango for his sermon Well Sourced, Well Done. That's a really good sermon. Y'all should go watch that. So I'm gonna list all those sermons probably in the show notes. I'll probably put them in the show notes just for just so it's not like so packed in the little IQ thing. But yes, so those are some sermons that have really been helping me just build my audacity up. I feel like that's one thing that I have loved about myself. I've always been audacious. I've always had the audacity to be myself for better or for worse, for good or for evil. But I think I don't want to lose that part about myself. And I think as I grow older and I become more of an adult and less of a child, and I deal with the imposter syndrome that is growing up, I need a little extra push and a little extra reminder that it's okay to step into the authority and step into the audacity that is becoming an adult. I don't know. Y'all let me know. Like, maybe I'm tripping, and I don't know. Like, maybe I'm tripping, but y'all let me know. I feel like there is a imposter syndrome feeling that you feel, because it's like, oh my God, but I still call my mom every week when something breaks. But also, I make my own decisions and I cook my own dinners and I meal prep every week. Like, who am I? I do feel like there is some type of disconnect or some type of distance between, I don't know how to word it. I just feel like there is something there that kind of, like, I don't know what other word to use besides imposter syndrome, but that kind of makes us feel like, I don't know if I'm adult enough yet, right? And so I think I'm just personally trying to come out of that. Y'all let me know. I could be wrong. I could be by myself in that. But y'all let me know. I feel like that's something that I am going through. I would love to know if you can relate in any capacity. So yeah. So those are some things that have kind of helped push me into more of my authority, into more of my audacity. And then I want to give you 3 things that have really helped me, and apparently some of the other classmates, because one of my things is coming from another classmate, but have really helped me kind of not bypass, but kind of calm my anxiety down and just go for being the person I want to be, right? Because it can be a little anxiety provoking to change your habits and to announce to the people around you, like, hey, I'm changing in this way. Hey, I'm representing myself to you, right? I'm about to give you another life story. I was talking to Isaiah. Isaiah is my editor. I was talking to him about what it's like to be a new creature in Christ. Like, we were talking about one of the episodes, and we went on to keep talking, and I was telling them, like, when I first got serious with my relationship with God, like, I've always been in church. I've been in church all my life. But when I got serious and when I decided, like, oh, my mom's relationship with God, my grandparents' relationship with God is not going to matter when I get to them pearly gates. You know what I'm saying? Like, the fact that my peepaw is a preacher is, Jesus is not going to look at me and be like, oh yeah, Joe, we know him. Come on in. No, he's going to be like, yeah, we got him, but where are your papers? Oh, okay. When I realized, like, oh, I need to know God for myself, I had to drop some habits, you know what I'm saying? And it was hard. It was hard to drop certain habits. It was hard to stop drinking. It was hard to stop smoking. It was hard to, like, stop partying and things like that. Like, and like a party here and there, and that's not a problem. But it was hard to do those things. And ultimately I learned that it wasn't hard to do those things because my body naturally craved them. It was hard to do those things because the people around me, that's how we bonded, right? So it was just like, oh, okay, we're going to have a game night. We're going to go and we're going to smoke. Or we're going to go to this party, but we're going to pregame before. And that's how we bond. Like, that was our quality time. We spent quality time by engaging in certain activities that I just don't necessarily engage in anymore. And so when I got serious about my relationship with Christ, it was hard to stop because I was still surrounded by the people I love. They still were engaging in things that I don't necessarily engage in or did not want to. And so it can be a challenge to be around people that you love, but not engage in the things that you used to engage in anymore, right? And so that can be another reason why some of us just, we're fearful of stepping into who we really want to be, because it means you might either have to leave some people behind, or you might have to find a new way to bond. But sometimes you end up falling off with people because y'all don't do the same habits anyway. So anyway, I just wanted to say that. So boom. So 3 tips that help you ease your anxiety a little bit and help you just, figure out who you want to be and make small steps to get there. 1, write it out. I think we underestimate the power of a good sheet of paper. Oh my gosh. Now, don't get me wrong. I love my computer. I got a little MacBook Air. Love that thing, okay? I love to type things out, Word, notes, voice memos, everything. I love it. That's great. That's cool. But something about a notebook and a pen, something about it is revolutionary. Something about it is radical, okay? I suggest that you take a piece of paper, get a notebook, get a pen, and write down your strengths. What are you good at? What do you love about yourself? What do you want to see more of yourself, right? For example, me. I'm very passionate. That's something I hope I never lose. I love the fact that when I'm ready to talk about something, I can talk about it for hours. I love the fact that I'm very expressive when I speak. I just love those things about myself, right? I think they're funny. I think they make me quirky. I pray that those are things I never lose, right? When I think about the person I want to be, she's passionate, but she's still calm, right? Those two things can still exist in the same space. Well, how do I get there? And so that is where you would now write down, like you will write down the things that you love about yourself. Maybe you've got a certain skill that you love. Maybe you're creative. Maybe you know how to paint. Maybe you love the way your voice sounds. Maybe you love that you mix up your lefts and your rights. Like maybe there's some things about you that you love. I want you to take the time to acknowledge those things. So write down the things that you love about yourself, and then write down some characteristics of the person that you want to be. And I know that sounds a little vague, but that's because it's subjective, right? Only you know the kind of person you want to be. So it's hard for me to give you an example because I don't want to project anything on you. Like, are you the type of person are you the type of person you want to be more athletic? Do you want to be more outgoing? Do you want to learn how to dance? Like, what are the things that, like, when you think about yourself in 5 years, we'll start with, like, I don't think we should be thinking like 10, 20, 30 years. Like, realistically, like 5 years from now, think about what age you'll be and the kind of person you think you want to be at that age, right? And then what's the gap? What is the gap between those things? Bridge the gap, right? So I'm thinking about it in my head, right? I have 2 columns. If I have a notebook and I'm writing it down, I have 2 columns. One column of all where I'm showering myself with compliments. I'm beautiful. I'm smart. I'm funny. I don't know. I'm really good at picking out jewelry. All these things. I'm writing out all these things that I love about myself. And then I have another column where I'm thinking about the person that I want to be, right? She's fashionable. She's cool, calm, and collected. She is kind and graceful. She is poised and powerful. Like, she is all these things, right? Well, how do I bridge the gap? Some of these things you might already be. And that's beautiful. Keep doing what you're doing. Some of these things you might already be, right? But going back to the example of being passionate yet being calm, well, maybe I talk a little lower. Like my mom and I have been having a conversation about our volume and how our family is just a little naturally loud, and we love our family. We love ourselves for it. But it's okay. Like, I do want to be more mindful of my volume. So, maybe working on that. What's another example I could give you? Here's a real example for me, for real. I am creative. I have a lot of good ideas, but I am also a little impatient. The person I want to be when I am 40 But more importantly, when I'm like 50, 60, like I'm talking about grandkids, I want to be a Miss Do It All. Like, I want my kids to see me, like, sew their dad's pants and make things for them. And, like, I want to be the house that, like, makes scarves and cardigans for the neighborhood. Like, I want to be that kind of creative. I want to, like, make clothes for my babies and my grandkids and be, like, things like that. Well, I am also impatient. So one thing I am currently working on this year is my discipline and my focus when it comes on creativity and tasks, right? So I have a tendency on deciding that I like something and then doing it for like a week. And then if I'm not good at it after a week, I drop it and I come back to it 10 years later. Yeah. So I was into crocheting before it was cool. I told my mom, I said, Mom, I would like to learn how to knit. I'm bored. Give me some yarn. She got me some yarn. She got me a lot of yarn. I crocheted. I single stitched for a week. And I said, I can't make a scarf yet. Dropped it. Did not pick it back up until this year. Successfully, I have made like 20 something scrunchies. Unfortunately, that is all I know how to make. And I have an unfinished hat in my bedroom as we speak. But it's something that I'm working on, baby steps. So that's a real life thing that I am working on, right? When I think about the person I want to be in 60 years, she is like, I'm not like a fashion designer or anything, but like I am the traditional, this is going to sound weird, but like I'm the traditional housewife. Like, I may not be a housewife because I'm a businesswoman, period. But, like, I want to be the one, like, not a Susie Homemaker. I don't know how to explain this, but I hope y'all get what I'm saying. Like, I want to be, like, sewing little hats for the baby, crocheting little hats for the babies. And if my kids' clothes tear because they were having too much fun, okay, I can sew it back together. Now, I know how to hand sew, but I got a sewing machine in my room from 10 years ago, waiting to be picked back up. So that's something that I'm working on. One thing that I'm working on is boosting my creativity. That's why when y'all saw, I posted some of my 2025 visions on Instagram. If you're not following us on Instagram, follow us, WSDTM Pod, on Instagram and on Threads. Follow us on both. But I shared some of my 2025 visions, and so one of them was just expanding on my creativity, because the person that I see myself being in the next couple of years can just do it all. She is just creative. She just makes things and she gives those things out as gifts. And that's who I want to be, okay? That's who I want to be. So all that to say, write it down. Take out a piece of paper and a pen and have a column. Who are you now? You're amazing right now. You're fantastic right now. You're beautiful, you're smart, you're handsome, you're creative, you are innovative right now. You're good at so many things. You can dress, okay? Like, whatever you have right now, write it down. Don't leave one thing out. And then, you don't have to have this whole elaborate idea of who you want to be, but just a couple of characteristics. And then how can we get there? What's a small step we can make to get there? So you bridge the gap. You use one word or one way that you can bridge the gap, which leads me to tip number 2. Break down and execute. Okay? Break down and execute. So that's kind of where the bridging the gap thing comes in, right? So for me, I am currently creative. Fantastic. How do we turn that creativity into actual production? Currently, we crochet. We take some time every day to pick up our needle and our yarn and crochet. So that is something that I'm doing every day or every week right now. So break it down and execute. What's one thing you can do daily, weekly, monthly to accomplish your goals, right? Set a SMART goal if you have to, right? So if I were to, using the example of the crocheting, if I wanted to prove to myself that I was going to stick to crocheting, I might say, okay, I need to make 5 projects in the next 5 months. Like, give yourself a SMART goal if you feel like you need that kind of stipulation. You know what I mean? But if I didn't need that, I could say, you know what? I'm going to pick up my needle and I'm going to do a I'm going to do 5 rows every day until I make something. 5 rows every day. I'm going to watch one video every day, every week. I'm going to go with my friends to a crochet class every month. Like, you have the tools. You just have to make them accessible to you. They may not be accessible if you're not thinking about them, which is why we're bringing them to the forefront of the mind right now. So how can you break down that one thing that will help you be closer to the person you want to be? How can you break that down and execute it? You see how I'm not saying, oh, 1 month I'm going to crochet, next month I'm going to sew, next month I'm going to this and that. And no. Don't even put that pressure on yourself. That's too much. That's way too much. Don't even do that to yourself, right? One thing at a time. So focus on one thing. If your goal is to, I don't know, get better with your style, then maybe you once a month you go to the thrift store with your friends. Maybe you watch a video on how people style their clothes. Watch a YouTube video on how to style your clothes once a week. Not too much, because you don't want to start comparing yourself to people. That too much of anything is bad for you. And then you put it into practice. You go into your closet and you try outfits on. You take the time, because that is a job. You take the time to try some different pieces on until you get a fly fit. Okay? That's just an example. I don't know what your goal is. I don't know what you want, who you want to be. Only you know that. But I'm just saying, like, write it down so that you have an idea. Break it down so that it's more tangible, and so that the goals are a little smaller, not because you can't execute them, but because we don't want to overwhelm ourselves. And when things are put into smaller bites, we're so much more likely to achieve them. So yeah, I'll be crocheting, and I want to know what you do. 3, my last tip on how to go for it. Okay, calm down the anxiety, and to go for who you want to be is to focus on the right now. So when I was posting for off season, I asked a question. I was referring to season 3, episode 9's episode. What? Season 3, episode 9. We did an episode called Speak Up. And it was basically how, we're supposed to be having hard conversations, because when you don't, you are ruining your relationships. And I hate to use a word so drastic as ruin, but it's so important for us to be honest about how we feel and to handle conflict with each other and not let things get swept under the rug. And the only way our relationships are going to thrive is if we speak up about them. So that's an episode you can watch. Where? Here, yeah. I'll put it up there. But that's an episode you can watch on your own time after you finish this one. And so I posted it on social media, and I asked, what is one way you all, the classmates, handle hard conversations? And I really appreciate you all for engaging me and interacting with me on that conversation, because one classmate even said, like, I need tips too. Like, I have no idea. I need tips. So, like, I want you to see how we really do help each other. So, and I really appreciate you all's feedback, because one classmate said, be where my feet are. And I'm sure they didn't say it and think that this was now going to be a part of this episode, but it sparked something in me, because so often our anxiety can take us from here to there to everywhere, right? And I mentioned last week that can be a huge part of why we stay stagnant, because we're nervous. Like, can I really become the person I want to be? Am I fooling myself? Are people going to respect me? Am I going to be able to keep it up? What happens if I fall back into old habits? Everybody's going to hate me. I'm never going to be able to pick myself back up again. Like, these are the ideas that can come to mind when it comes to us taking ourselves to the next level. It can be scary. It can be nerve-wracking. Sometimes we can be fearful. But hard doesn't mean impossible. Hard doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. So we might just need to learn how to calm our anxiety down when it comes to taking ourselves to the next step. And a perfect way to do this is be where your feet are. right? Where are you right now? I remember I was meditating somewhere, and not like, I'd be out there meditating, but I was in a program, and we were doing a deep breathing exercise, and the woman who was over the program was saying, your body only knows how to be in its present state. So like right now, my body only knows how to be crisscross applesauce on my couch, right? My body is currently not in my bedroom when I was 12 years old and I was doing a vision board for the first time. Like my body is not there. It can't go back there. You know what I'm saying? My brain can go back there, but my body is here. And so sometimes we have to remember to stay in the present moment, to be where our feet are. Right now, I'm sitting crisscross applesauce. My feet are under my jeans. But I could be sitting here thinking about that time in high school when somebody told me I was too bubbly, and it made me try to dim my light for like a week, and it didn't even work. My brain can go there, but I won't let it because I'm right here with you. And so I feel like that's a huge reminder as we continue to go throughout this season, and as you continue to go throughout the next chapter of your life, to be where your feet are planted, right? I'll give you a very practical example. For me, I can only talk about the things I know about. When I was learning how to dress, because I didn't always know how to dress. Like when I was in college, I was cute, but like I couldn't dress for real. Now I feel like, oh, okay, I'm coming into my style, all the things. I would put pieces together that I wouldn't normally put together, and then I would get nervous. Like, man, what if that shirt is too baggy? What if I thought that today? What if that shirt is too baggy? What if that shirt is too baggy? What if the print on that pants doesn't go with those shoes? What if this? What if that? When in my present moment, where my feet are planted, I put those pieces together for a reason, because I think they look good. I can't think about the time that I got made fun of when I was 5 for how I dressed. I can't think about what might happen in 30 minutes when I go out with my friends and they see my outfit and how they feel about it. I can't think about that. I have to think about right now. How do I feel right now about my fit? If I think my fit is fly, then I gotta go with it, okay? I have to be confident in how I feel about myself. You have to be confident in how you feel about your actions. And if you're not, it's okay for now. If you're not yet, it's okay for now. I just want to extend the reminder to listen to your body. Listen to your intuition. Listen to your feelings. Be where your feet are now. So if you are struggling with representing yourself to your parents, your family, your friends, don't be. Because really the only validation you need is your own. And I say that to you, but I need it too. The only validation you need is your own. And the best way you can be the person you want to be, or 3 things that might help you, is to write it down so that it's tangible and you can see it for yourself. To break it down and to execute it so that it's in smaller bites, so that it's more digestible and not so overwhelming. And then you can high five yourself along the way. And then to remember to be where your feet are. Not what people might think of you, not what happened to you in the past. How do you feel right now? How does this activity make you feel right now? How do these clothes make you feel right now? How do your decisions make you feel right now? Not what other people are going to think. Not what happened in the past. What is happening right now? So yeah, that's it. That's all I had this week. If you like this episode, like it, share, subscribe. Come back next week because I want you here next week. Next week, we're going to have our very first guest. Y'all. Next week, we're going to have our very first guest. We're going to have Siobhan Gallagher. Oh! If you don't know who Siobhan Gallagher is, that's okay. But if you have seen our Instagram post, WSDTM Pod, follow us on Instagram, WSDTM Pod. If you've been on our Instagram, you know we do First 30 Pages. First 30 Pages is our book review. That's where I go and I tell y'all about books. And I'm going to start reading your books. That's something I would like to do. Y'all have recommended books to me before. I'm going to start reading them and reviewing them on First 30 Pages. So if you have a book that you would like to share with me and with the classmates, if you have a book that it's like, everybody needs to know about this book, share with me. I'm down to read it. We'll review it on First 30 Pages. On First 30 Pages, one of the most recent books I have reviewed is called Full of Myself. It's a graphic novel about body image, and the author is Siobhan Gallagher. Her story was such a huge influence on this season. And so I'm really excited for you guys to meet her, and I'm excited to have her on the pod. I'm super duper excited. So make sure you come back next week because that is not an episode that you want to miss. She's our first guest of the season, guys. Oh, that's bold work to be the first guest of the season. Yeah. So if you are new here, make sure you come back next week. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, share with a friend so that they can become a classmate too. And yeah, you see, we already coming in hot for this season, and I'm just excited to keep going, to keep this fire burning. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all next week.